Welcome back to the patch, everyone. Gonna do a patch update. It's been a couple weeks since I've been able to do an update. Had to get a couple things in line as far as back up to standards in the patch. Still a little bit behind on a few things, but kind of let you know where we're at and some challenges that we've had since the last update, as well as some successes. So we'll get into it. First plant we have here is the 2560. This is the east plant. This is one of the ones that was flattened out with the wind damage, and has one of the bigger fruits on it. It's also the more aged fruit. I'll go ahead and pull the sheet off here. Couple pieces of grass because I weed whacked, but you're able to see what we got. I just had DAP 25 on this fruit, and it was sitting right at 300 pounds. It's like 300 and some change, 305, whatever. But it's doing pretty good for the size plant it has. This particular plant is right around, I would say, 600 square feet. Very weak secondaries on this side of the plant. Some of them are budding out, and then a little bit stronger on this side. It's obvious that the weeds and grass have taken over in this area. I did spray, I think it's called Clethodim. It's a grass killer about 3 or 4 days ago, but it usually takes time for it to take effect. I am seeing some signs that it's working, but it's going to take some time. What I've been doing is hand watering some urea in the areas where the plant is kind of dying back, or not dying back, but not growing as aggressive, in hopes to kind of pick up some of the speed on those secondaries. But we'll see what happens. We're just going to let it do its thing. I'll try and keep the grass and weeds low and let the plant grow over it, and we'll see what we're able to get off this particular plant. I also plan to go through here before the plant gets to this area and hit it with Roundup in the next day or two. So we'll see where we end up on that particular 2560, and then we'll move over here to this 2560. This one's a lot more aggressive as far as side vines and whatnot. It starts about here and then goes all the way over. So we're approximately about, I would say, 750 square foot. And then I'm going to let it take over this area. Now, this is the one that I called the Charlie Brown plant, and it is far from what it was before. Got a lot of secondary growth, a lot of tertiary growth that took over. And if you notice, this big open area is where I had the field pumpkins. Now, they were doing really well. They were over 10 feet long, probably close to 12 foot long, but I still didn't have a field pumpkin on the mains, and I decided that the Atlantic Giants were more important than the field pumpkins. So not going to go ahead and grow those. My wife, she is growing a pumpkin patch up top in my patch from last year, and she's going to let a couple of the plants grow some bigger pumpkins. So see what she comes up with. I'll try and keep you posted on that. But we're going to let those go for now, and we'll stick with the Atlantic Giants this year. I did end up having to slide the scale underneath this 2560, as it is the 1707 that I had put it under. Had a weird shape, so I ended up having to call that pumpkin, and so I have this 2560 now growing on the scale. It's sitting, I think it was 12 days old today, and we're right at 30 pounds right now. So it'll probably end up about 40 pounds by day 15, and then we'll go from there. But good shape fruit, really happy to see it with a good shape, good start. Like I said, I've got secondary vines and tertiary vines ready to take over this area and hopefully push this fruit to the finish line and get some good data and learning from this particular fruit. So excited to see what it does. We'll head over to the 1707. So the 1707, which was my biggest plant, still is probably my biggest plant. This plant's over 1,000 square feet right now and still growing. But a couple issues. The fruit had a weird shape to it when I called it on the main, and was kind of slow. I knew it was going to split or do something silly, so it wasn't worth going with it. And I'm having trouble finding fruit that are decent shape. And usually I'm not very picky, but we've had some weird shaped fruit. So I am able to get this 5 lober pollinated on the main. I can't tell if it's taken yet, so we're gonna hold off on doing anything crazy here. But I also have a 3 lober that I pollinated the day before that one that looks like it's taken pretty well, but it is a submarine, to say the least. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting which one I end up going with. Still got secondary growth kicking in here real good. Beautiful sea of green there. Great plant. I just having trouble getting the fruit that I have faith in that it's going to make it to the finish line. So we'll see probably in the next update or the update after. So 7 to 12 days we'll know kind of what we got. But really happy with the plant, and we'll move on to the 2144.5 Rotoball. All right, so we're at the top of the 2144.5 Rotoball. Another good looking plant. I do have a little bit of weeding, and again, I hit it with the grass killer, and I still have to hit around the perimeter with the Roundup, but plant looks great overall. Still got secondary growth filling in this area and the backside over there. But you want to see the fruit. I think we're at 21 days old, and this is one of the other things. This one was got a twisted blossom on pollination. You can kind of see it there. And then I had a lot of splitting. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-ish splits that happened in the first 14 days, and it just kept splitting and healing, sapping and whatnot. But it's healed itself over. A little bit of white that you see on my blossoms, I hit them for the first time with 50-50 mixture of Daconil, just to kind of keep the funky monkey away. Humidity has been real high. From the back, she looks pretty good, but she does have a dip up here, and she has narrow shoulders, so kind of a apple shape towards the front. But she's growing. She's only 3 inches behind what the 2560 was at this day, or at DAP 20. So I think she's right there at 150 pounds is what I had her at DAP 20. So she's doing well. She's kind of got some veining, which is usually a good sign of a strong pumpkin, and genetics are heavy. So we'll see what we get out of her. The most important thing is keeping the plant as healthy as possible. So I'm not too concerned with this dip right now. It's not a huge one. If we have issues, it'll be usually in the crease there where the ribs are. So we'll see how those go. If they get scary, not a whole lot we can do about them. But most important thing is keep all the fruit as happy and healthy as possible, so that if one does not make it, we still have 3 to go for the finish line. So that's about it for this week, guys. Kind of get you caught up on what I got growing in the patch. See next week if we have something on that 1707, and kind of give you an update on how the others are doing. Catch you on the next one. Thanks.